So I'm here with my chiropractor, Roy Ferris, and he's going to talk to us today about posture, how to have good posture, how footwear affects it. And we're going to just start out by talking about my posture and hopefully be able to get into a good spot. So Roy, tell us what we need to know about shoes and posture.
Sure, and I won't pick on you too much.
Okay.
The first thing that we look at is humans were not born with a pair of shoes on. So when we're looking at footwear, we are trying to mimic what God naturally gave us, which is barefoot. When you add any sort of a heel lift or toe constriction, we change the biomechanics of the foot, which then in turn changes the way the whole body is going to respond to it.
So if you want to just start by see if you can get me give me some tips on my posture, which I know isn't great.
Okay.
And see if we can show kind of, if I was going to work on my posture, how would I need to stand?
When I'm looking at posture, I look at a few different points. We start up with the ear. We want the ear to line up with where the shoulder blade and the collarbone meet, which is right there. The hip, right there. The knee, and then this little bump on the ankle right there. All of those points should create a nice flat line that goes from the ear all the way down to the ankle. So in this position, we've got just a little bit of forwards tilt to the pelvis, which we could tighten up here. His head's still shifted forwards, so you could bring it back till you touch my hand. Yep, right about in there. That's a basic neutral posture, and it's fairly close to it. If he was to put on, say, these boots that he's got over here, you would be able to see the effects of a heel lift on basic posture.
Cool. So I literally don't own anything with a raised heel, so I stole these weird boots from my son. So, but you can see they have a pretty nice big heel on the bottom here. So I'm gonna put these on.
The man version of high heels.
Yes, man, they barely fit, and my feet are not happy in these, that's for sure. But let's see, if we got boots on and we've got a heel lift, what happens to our posture here?
So what you see here is the head translated further forwards, which then in turn actually increased more of a curve in the mid-back, which puts a lot of strain on these muscles. You see his whole center of gravity pitched forwards. So now he has to work really hard with the hamstrings and calf muscles in order to keep himself upright, which leads to chronic leg tension on the backside. And interesting piece of research, for every inch forwards the head travels of that line that we talked about earlier, it adds about 10 pounds worth of effective weight. So in this position, we're about 3 inches forwards of what it should be. So his head weighs another 30 pounds than what it should weigh.
Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on some shoes that don't have a raised heel, my shoes, Func Shoes, and we're gonna just look at what you can work on in your posture to have great posture if you're starting from, a good foundation of just being flat on the ground.
In normal neutral posture, again, with a decent pair of footwear on, shifted his head back almost an inch, just changing footwear. The curve in the mid-back here started to straighten out. We still have some of that residual posture that has his hips shifted forwards. So that's gonna be one thing that he wants to change. One good analogy, and he hinted at it earlier, is a foundation. If I see cracks in the walls as a result of my foundation shifting, then I can patch the cracks. But if I don't actually fix the foundation, then they will continue to worsen. But if I fix the foundation, then I'm still gonna have the cracks to fix. So posture is very much like that. If we've trained a certain pattern, then you have to untrain it in order to get the most out of, say, changing footwear. So what he would need to work on here is tightening his abs up, shifting his weight back on his heels. Yep, and it feels like he's gonna fall over, which is perfect. That's exactly where you wanna be. He needs to tighten up this thoracic spine just a little bit, and as he tightens that one, then it will naturally shift his head back just a slight bit. The basics of good posture actually, and you're good, you can relax. The basics of good posture actually go back to just normal mechanics. So there's not a whole lot of specific postural exercises that we necessarily need to do. We need to find a normal neutral posture, and we need to hold just that posture, because that actually engages the muscles that we need engaged.
Yeah, so there's not like a ton of stretches or anything like that I need to do. I just need to think about tightening up my thoracic spine, making sure I don't get that tilted pelvis,
Yep.
all of those things. Just stand right and practice standing right. That's the exercise.
That's gonna get you the biggest bang for your buck. We can always stretch out the tight muscles. So when I start to collapse down with posture, my pecs over tighten, my hip flexors down deep in here, they start to over tighten, my hamstrings over tighten. So in this posture here, it's gonna be helpful to stretch those, but really the biggest bang for your buck is actually just correcting the basic postural abnormalities.
Okay, real quick, say if somebody, they just like traditional running shoes with a really large heel, all of that, can they still fix their posture that way?
I haven't seen it where when you add a heel lift, there just really isn't a good way to maintain proper posture without some form of compensation in the body.
Mm-hmm. And at the very least, you'd be limited in how much you could fix your posture and something.
You're gonna plateau out faster.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for talking to us about posture, and it's a good reminder for me. Even though I wear barefoot shoes, sometimes I just don't think about it, even though I'm at a standing desk all day. So, thank you for your expertise. And if you want a pair of flat shoes that you can work on your posture with and get in a more natural state, the way we were intended to be, you can drop by funcshoes.com. Thanks for watching.